Hi BookTube! My name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I am coming to you with another weekly reading update. So this is for week number 12 and it was March the 19th through the 25th. Happy Sunday everybody! The final Sunday in March. Next Sunday will be April Fool's Day, I think. The 1st, right? Or is that Saturday? I don't remember. Anyway, I think it's Saturday actually. So yeah, we will be into April next Sunday, which is... time is flying. We're already a quarter of the way through this year. And I'm kind of laughing at like coworkers and other people who are like, "Oh, come on, summer, we've had enough of the snow." And I agree. But on the other hand, the faster you rush summer, the faster you rush fall. And then we're just back to winter again. So anyway, lots to share with you guys in this video today. I've got 4 books that I finished this week that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about what I'm currently reading. I have a small book haul, including the fact that, I may have bought another Kindle, and I've actually got some crafting to show you guys as well. Have not done that in a long time, so yeah, I'm excited about that. So timestamps in the description box below if you want to jump ahead to any point in this video. So like I said, I finished 4 books this week, you guys. The first one I finished was The Unspoken by Heather Graham. This is the 7th book in the Crew of Hunters series, and I gave it 4 stars. Sorry if I keep glancing down. I've got my tablet in front of me so I can see and remember what I was talking about. So this is the Crew of Hunters series, for those of you who might be new to my channel. I've been talking about this series for years. It's an absolute favorite of mine. We're now up to like 30 some odd books. Now I have read up to book 20 something, but I have not read the ones in the last few years. And because I decided to start doing a reread through my way through the series. So I'm kind of hoping by the time I get to the end, Heather Graham will have stopped writing them. I'm not hoping that she stops writing them because I love them. But, one of those, this is a series that could go on for a long time. So essentially the overarching plot of this series is about several groups, or one big group of special agents for the FBI who investigate cases of, I want to say, paranormal type stuff. Now, the way I always phrase this is, it's like the X-Files, but with ghosts instead of aliens. So the main characters can all see and talk to the dead, and they often help with the cases and things like that. So yeah, the plot of this one, it's in Chicago, and Heather Graham used to do a lot of historical fiction or historical romance, and you can tell she has a love of history because these books often have a historical aspect to them. So in this one, it's about a boat or a ship that sunk in Lake Michigan in the mid to late 1800s. And this modern day dive team has now found the wreck of this ship. And on the ship was cargo from a tomb excavation in Egypt of not a pharaoh, but of a priest to a pharaoh or something like that. I think to Ramesses. I'm not sure which one. But I mean, I'm pretty sure that this priest, with the sarcophagus and all that, was made up. But you get the idea. So anyway, they are trying. So to back up. They found the ship, so this one guy on the dive team went down. He was super excited. He kind of wanted to have a sneak peek. He was supposed to wait for the rest of his team to go down the next day, and he ended up getting murdered. So the Crew of Hunters is brought in to kind of investigate this because there is some paranormal happenings with this sarcophagus and this priest and this mummy, and so it's kind of an interesting, because you wouldn't think like Lake Michigan. Chicago is where it mostly takes place, and like an Egyptian mummy. But it was done really well. So our main 2 characters are Will and Kat, and both of these characters you have met in previous books. Now, this is a series you do not need to read in order. You can definitely jump around and read whichever ones, tickle your fancy, if you will. But I do enjoy reading them in order because you do kind of meet characters. Like Will appeared in the very first book of this series, and I really liked him. He is a magician, and he also does like special effects, but of course he can see and talk to the dead. And Kat is a forensic pathologist. That's the word I almost said psychologist. Forensic pathologist. And she very much reminded me, as I was reading the book, as a blonde Dana Scully, again, to go back to the X-Files reference. So, yeah, I really, really like this one. Like I said, 4 stars. This is a favorite series of mine. And it is great on audio for those of you who are audio listeners, because Luke Daniels does the narration for the majority of the books. I think he stops more recently. Storm over at Storm Reads probably knows when, because she's been listening to them on audio, and she said there is a definite spot where he stops doing the main narration, which is disappointing because he is really good. To me, he's kind of synonymous with the Crew of Hunters series. So the next book that I finished was High Country Hideout by Elle James. This is the 7th book in the Covert Cowboys Inc. series. It is, of course, a Harlequin intrigue novel. I gave this book 4 stars, so I did like this one quite a bit. I took it out of the library, as you can tell by the library stuff here. And yeah, this was also large print, which is also very enjoyable to read. So in this one, our main characters are Reggie, short for Regina, and Angus is our male lead. So the Covert Cowboys group of books can absolutely be read out of order because they are just kind of focusing on the same idea, whereas there are these former cowboys who might have some military background or something like that. Like Angus served overseas and was injured. He actually has a prosthetic leg. And he is back stateside, doesn't know what to do with himself, and he's hired by this group of covert cowboys, as they call it. So they essentially pose as ranch hands or things like that to investigate goings-on at these, ranches and stuff. So in this one, Reggie, our female lead, her and her young son live at this ranch along with this older couple, CW and Joe, and they're married, Josephine and CW. And he's kind of been the ranch hand for many years, CW, but he's getting older. I shouldn't say he's elderly. He's getting older. And they've noticed that some things are starting to happen around the ranch, like stuff that's too many things to start being a coincidence, like somebody's clearly out to frighten Reggie. So she is a widow. Her husband passed away a year ago, and Angus comes onto the ranch to try and find out what's going on. I found it predictable because I did kind of figure it out almost right away. What was going on. I just didn't know who. I knew why and what, but not who. And of course, there's a romance between our 2 main characters. I liked this one. I thought it was really good. It was really entertaining, even though I kind of knew where it was going. I kind of liked the idea of it with this whole covert cowboy thing, and the fact that not only was Angus a war veteran, but a wounded war veteran. And, throughout the book, he was kind of self-doubting himself, should I really be doing this? Can I really help this woman when I myself am not, 100%? But, it's kind of one of those, it goes to show you that you can overcome certain physical limitations that you think you might have. You know what I mean? So I really, really like this one. I do want to read more from this series. Elle James writes the entire series, and I think there's 8 books, maybe. So this is number 7. But again, you can absolutely read these out of order. No problem at all. The next one that I finished was Love Letters by Francine Pascal. Actually, Kate William, I believe, writes the Sweet Valley High series. Sweet Valley High book number 17. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I actually kind of like this one. This is about Carolyn Pierce, who is one of the students at Sweet Valley. She's the same age as Elizabeth and Jessica, so 16. And she is not very popular. She's not very well liked. Unfortunately, some of it is her own doing. She is the town gossip or the high school gossip. Any information about anything, she knows, she wants to know, and she's sharing it with everybody. The running thing throughout the series to this point is unless you want the whole world to know, don't tell Caroline, excuse me. So she decides to try and find a way to become more popular. So she invents a boyfriend and she starts getting these love letters from him. So right away that this isn't real. You see quite a bit of this book from her perspective. And I did in a way feel sorry for her until a few things that she did that kind of made me think, well, you're kind of doing this yourself. And then she realizes, she's perhaps dug this hole too deep and she doesn't know how to get out of it now. So along with that, of course, there has to be a plot about Elizabeth and Jessica as well. And in that plot, it does tie into our main plot because Carolyn ends up finding this letter that the twins' mother threw out that talks about the fact that their mom might take this job in San Francisco, thus moving the family from Sweet Valley to San Francisco. So that ends up being a whole secondary B plot. But yeah, I like this one. I thought it was really good. For Sweet Valley, it was quite good. I enjoyed it. And yeah, like I said, 3.5 stars. And the last book that I finished this week was my favorite one of the week, and that was French Quarter Fatale by Joanna Wayne. I gave this book 4.5 stars. This is a Harlequin intrigue novel. It is a new release. It is a new release as of March of 2023, so it just came out this month. And I highly recommend that you guys check this one out. This is a standalone novel, and it is about our main character, Josette and Keenan. So the two of them are going to mutual friends' weddings. She is, of course, maid of honor for the bride, and he is best man for the groom. And they meet on the plane on the way to New Orleans, and they kind of have an attraction to each other, but there's kind of a lot of other things going on this whole wedding. But the whole intrigue part of it is that a year earlier, Josette's mother went missing, like she took off. She is a very, very well-known actress in some evening soap opera, and she's been gone for a year. 1 year to the time of Mardi Gras, because this takes place over Mardi Gras. So for those of you who might be seasonal readers, maybe hold off until Mardi Gras next year, or read it this year. I don't know when Mardi Gras actually falls. Is it, or has it already happened? Because it's like Fat Tuesday, right? Which is the beginning of Lent. So it's already happened because Easter's like in a week or so. But like I said, for those of you who are seasonal readers, maybe hold off on this one till next year. Or just read it now because it was fantastic. So the main intrigue type plot is the fact that Josette is kind of wondering, she's back where her mother disappeared. She doesn't know what's going on. She misses her mother. Is she dead? Is she alive? She has a very weird relationship with her father, who lives in the bayou. He's a shrimp fisherman. And, he doesn't know what happened to the mother, but clearly people are holding secrets. Keenan is actually an FBI agent, because of course he is. And because it just makes it easier for the plot. No, I'm making fun. But no, seriously, he's an FBI agent. So he's not on the case, but he's going to see what he can do to help. So I really like this one. It really, really kept me guessing the whole way through the book, which was great. There was one little thing at the end, one little tiny thing that kind of made me go, don't know if I buy that so much. But it was so minor. But that's why it got knocked off 0.5 star, because if not, it would have been a 5-star read for me, you guys. I know I'm being picky, and I'm sorry. But you guys know, if you've been watching me for any length of time, you've really got to twist my arm to get a 5-star read out of me. And if that one thing hadn't been a thing, I would have been like, yes, this is a great 5-star read. But the one thing, I was just kind of like, I don't know. But it was really, really minor. So anyway, I really enjoyed this one. Give it a read for sure. So yeah, so guys, those are all the books that I finished this week. A couple intrigues, a paranormal romance, and a Sweet Valley. Gotta love it. So what am I currently reading? So I am currently reading a love-inspired suspense novel. And this one is Theme Park Abduction by Patsy Conway. I was looking this up yesterday because I just started it last night after I finished the French Quarter book. And our writer, this is their first book, and he... it's a he who's writing this, and it says right in the that he and his wife live in wherever it is, and I guess he's also a teacher, and this is his first book, which is very exciting. So yay, great job. This is, I believe, like I said, I just started this, about a woman whose son goes missing at a theme park, is abducted, and the story goes from there. Sorry, it's really dark. You guys probably having a hard time seeing the cover, but like next week when I review this, I will put the full color cover up for all of you to see. So there's that one. I am also currently reading, so that is my, that's my Harlequin book. So my thing is now I want like a Harlequin book on the go, one of the books from my TBR, my weekly TBR, and then a library book. So the book that I am, sorry guys, currently reading is another intrigue novel. You guys know I love the intrigue novels. And this one is Partner Protector by Julie Miller. This is the first book in the Precinct series. I read like almost the last, I think it was the last book, a couple of months ago. I unofficially buddy read it with Ollie over at Criminale. This one is so good. Oh my gosh. So this is about the Kansas City Police Department. And our male lead, Merrill is his name. He's a detective with the Kansas City Police Department. And our female lead, Kelsey, she is kind of like a liaison for the department. She actually sees visions. And what I really like is that it's not being like the detectives in the story, like even T himself, is kind of like, of course, very skeptical about the fact that she can witness these women being murdered. Like, it's when she touches an object or a person that she gets these visions or what have you. So the whole thing that's being investigated is that over the last decade, these hookers have been killed in Kansas City, and it's always around Christmas time. So this takes place just after Christmas. And he's on the case for it, and she has a vision of another woman being killed and goes to the police. But of course, a lot of the police department is like, yeah, okay, whatever. But he decides to try and work with her, but she's very headstrong. She's going to do this herself. They don't believe her. She wants to figure out what's happening to these poor women, and the story kind of goes from there. So yeah, this is very dark, you guys. This is very dark. But I'm really liking it. Like, it's really, really interesting. So yeah, I am enjoying this one. Weird thing to say, I'm about halfway through it at this point, so I should hopefully get that done in the next few days. And last but not least, a library book. Now, you're going to look at this and go, Sarah, that's not a library book. That's a book that you pulled off your shelf. Fun fact, I had completely forgotten that I had borrowed this book from the library. I had put it on hold. And the hold came in last Monday, I think. Sunday or Monday. And on Wednesday, I stopped at the library on my way home from work and I picked it up. And I was reading away on it. It was the large print edition. And, this is The Backup Plan by Jill Shalvis, the third book in the Sunrise Cove series. And then yesterday, my husband and I were over at Walmart, and we walked by the book table, and they had this book sitting there with the big 30% off sticker. And I'm like, wait a minute. I own that book. So when I got home from Walmart, yes, I pulled this off of my shelf. So I put the library book back in my library book bag, and I'm going to drop it off in a little bit so the next person in line can get their hands on it, because this is a popular book. It's a new release. So this is, like I said, the third book in the Sunrise Cove series. This is kind of her, like, she also does the Wildstone series, which is a bit more of a foray into women's fiction. So this is about three people. I wouldn't really say friends. They all kind of sort of knew each other. Well, our two female leads, Alice and Lauren, knew each other in high school, and they were very best friends, actually. And Knox was Alice's crush. So they all kind of inherit this house or this estate or what have you, and have to spend a month fixing it up. So it's that kind of basic plot line and how they work together and stuff like that. And there's going to be, some romance happening between Alice and Knox, and then Lauren and some other local guy who lives in town. And yeah, so far I am really enjoying it. I am about that far through it. And yeah, like I said, really, really enjoying this. It says, here we go, I'll just read the back right here really quickly. Jill Shalvis returns to Sunrise Cove with a heartwarming tale of three people who are brought together when they're bequeathed an old Wild West inn that has the potential to pull their lives apart, but instead turns into the gift of a lifetime. So yeah, love it, love it, love it. Really enjoying that. So I am counting that as my library book, even though it came off of my shelf. So, yeah, that's exciting. So let's get on to the book haul / Sarah bought herself a new Kindle. So yeah, I was debating on this, and it had been on sale. And then I got some gift cards. So essentially, to be honest, guys, the only thing that cost me money in this whole thing was the case that I bought for it. So I did buy the Kindle Basic. It retails for about $129. I know it was on sale last week for like $90 or something. Like, this is in Canadian dollars. But I decided to go for it because I have two Kobos, and now I have two Kindles. So this one is a bit smaller. This is not a review. I am not reviewing this Kindle at all. That's just, yeah, there are plenty of other great channels who will review, but as an avid reader, let me just do this. You can clearly see, this is the Kindle Paperwhite. This is the Basic. So you can clearly see that there is a size difference between the two. Other than the size, the only other difference I've heard of or noticed is that this one, okay, one, it's not waterproof. So if you're someone who reads at the beach or by the pool or in the bathtub, you might want to be very extra careful with this one. The other thing is that it doesn't have the warm light for those of you who might read at night in bed. But really, that's the only differences, other than the size. So, but if you want my completely honest opinion, if you're buying your first Kindle, I recommend the Paperwhite. You know, it's $20 more, and I just think like it's just that much bigger. It's just, you know, but the if you're looking for a backup Kindle, like a secondary Kindle like me, I've talked to some people in the comments on my videos saying that they bought the basic just to use it for Kindle Unlimited, because right now I'm reading 2 Kindle books. So, I mean, yes, I could switch back and forth on this one Kindle, but I kind of like I don't know what it is. It just makes it feel like you're like, with the reading of the books and then having the covers up, it just makes you literally feel like, oh, I'm picking that book off my nightstand, even though these are in cases and you can't really see the covers all the time. So yeah, so I did rebuy some stickers for the cases. So there's my fat Presley cat eating pizza sticker. And for my basic, I got this adorable sticker, Coffee and Cats. And I do plan on getting more stickers to cover the cases. I got all black cases now, and these are not the... So yeah, so when I bought the Kindle Basic, because of the gift cards I had, I essentially got it for free, roughly. I pretty much just paid for the case. Now, the case is not the Kindle case. This is like the other sellers, you know, non-brand name sellers case, and this is all that I've ever bought. I've never bought a true case meant for the Kindle, you know, the one that you can bundle with a Kindle, because they're kind of expensive, you guys. This cost me $12, and it's just as good. Yeah, and, you know, like I said, black, so that way I can cover it with pretty stickers. So that's the one big thing that I bought myself. The other thing that I bought myself, I'm just trying to look for places to put stuff, is not big thing, but the other things I bought. I bought some books yesterday. So Garrett and I went to Walmart, as I mentioned, and I went to the Walmart that does the 3 Harlequin books for $15. I cannot pass up that because these retail for $7 a piece. So I got Breakaway Cowboy by Barbara Dunlop. It's a Harlequin Desire novel. These are all March releases, so they came out just recently. He's been down for the count, but hadn't counted on her. So yeah, love Barbara Dunlop. This is part of the High Country Hawks series. And then I got this one, Danger on Maui by R. Barry Flowers. Side note as well, this is also a male author. So like I mentioned, that this week's prompt for a book off your shelf or whatever, for one of the prompts, is to read a book by a male author. So this one would count, or The Theme Park Abduction, if you just want to try something different. But this is part of a series called Maui CI. So I think this is the 3rd book, so definitely check out maybe the first 2 books. But yeah, I mean, Hawaii? Hello, yes please. And then I got a Harlequin historical, Falling for the Forbidden Duke by Eva Shepherd. I do really like her books, so I got that one as well, because it was, like I said, 3 for $15. And then Garrett and I wandered over to the Salvation Army, and we went and had a quick look, and I got 4 books there. So I got this Christmas collection from Love Inspired, with Christmas in His Heart by Gail Gamer Martin, and The Four Strangers Christmas by Leah Bale. So these are inspirational romances. It's a 2-in-1. Both of these books have been published on their own at some point within the Love Inspired series. With Christmas in His Heart. So the first book was from 2006, and then the second one was published in 2014. So quite a difference between the 2 of them in time, but gorgeous, gorgeous cover. The Love Inspired books, if you want true reason for the season Christmas books, you need to read the Love Inspired. I found an intrigue book. They used to have at the Salvation Army thrift store, all the Harlequin category romances would be in like one shelf by themselves. But now they've scattered them. They just kind of put them everywhere. So it really is a hunt and peck to see what you can find if you're looking for category. But I found Mysterious Millionaire by Cassie Miles, which is another intrigue. The Maid and the Millionaire. So yay on that one. And then I got another intrigue. This is a much older one. It's number 351, and this is from 1995. I really like the cover on this one. White Wedding by Jean Barrett. So yeah, a Christmas wedding snowbound in a winter wonderland. So yeah, looks really good. And then last but not least, I found this one. It's a Debbie Maycomer, and it was in really great condition. It is, I seem to be on the Christmas kick. There's like 3 Christmas books I got. A Christmas Message by Debbie May Comer. Part of me feels like I already have this. But it was $1.99, so I'm not gonna split hairs. If I do, maybe I'll use it in a giveaway. And it's 2 books, 2 great stories, Christmas Letters and Call Me Miss Miracle. So yeah, love the cover of that little doggy. Just so adorable. So yeah, so that is all the bookish stuff, my friends. Very quickly, I'm going to show you guys some crafty stuff that I've been working on. And I'm going to spin my craft wheel, or my cross-stitch wheel, for you guys, so we can pick what I'm going to work on next week. Because I've decided that I'm going to work on a cross-stitch project for like a whole week. And then switch it out on Sundays, essentially. So this is what I was working on last week. And this is the one that I bought myself, the pattern I bought myself for my birthday. It's called Luna Witch, and it's by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I will leave link in the description box below if you guys want to see the pattern. It's kind of hard to see. It is a witch. So this is actually her face. Her hair is kind of covering, and there's like her neck, if you can see that. And this is clearly her hat, right? So yeah, so far, not too bad. I've been working on this for about a week or so. And I am really enjoying it. So I will pop a picture of what it's supposed to look like finished. Here, it's quite a detailed, not detailed, but it's a lot of black that I'm using in this one. So yeah, this one is going to be fun. But I am enjoying it so far, and I really like this pattern. The other thing is that I decided to pick up some knitting yesterday. I've really only been knitting socks for like the past year or two. You know, I occasionally I'll fancy and pick up to think I'm going to start a sweater, and I don't. But I had this yarn, and I've had this yarn for a while, and I really, really love it. And I didn't feel like knitting socks, and this is too thick for sock yarn anyway. So what I decided to do, sorry, I'm just trying not to have everything fall out, is I decided to actually start, everything's all tangled, is I decided to start a pair of fingerless mitts. I love knitting fingerless mittens. I think it's so much fun. I have like 4 or 5 pairs. Same as I have a whole bunch of hats as well. When you're a knitter, you tend to have a lot of these things. But I just started this yesterday, so I got the cuff done. Does not look super exciting, but the pattern is called Sugar Maple by Alicia Plummer. Again, I'll leave link to it below on Ravelry. And it's just a basic fingerless mitt pattern. I will probably be working on these now for a while, so I will show you next week what I'm doing. I cannot remember what the yarn is called, but isn't it pretty? I literally had rolled it into a ball to knit something at some point, and I lost the tags. So I apologize. I don't remember it. I've owned this yarn for a long, long time. But yeah, so far I am really enjoying it. So the pattern's pretty basic. I don't want to, it is a paid for pattern though, so I don't want to give too much away. But the actual pattern in the mittens themselves is very straightforward. And I've knit another pair of mittens with this pattern, but they were a solid colored yarn. So I'm really excited to see how it's going to look on this really funky multicolored yarn. So yeah, so fingerless mitts, again, just mittens without the fingers. And they're great. I like them for driving in the winter. I often put those really thin gloves, like, you know, those really thin elastic, not elastic, but really stretchy mittens that you get at like the dollar store or Walmart. I like putting those on, and then I'll cover it with the fingerless mitt, and it keeps your hands extra warm. So yeah, so that is what I have been crafting on, my friends. But anyway, yeah, so living in that bag just because it's my favorite bag. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel to see what my next cross stitch pattern that I'm going to be stitching on this week is going to be. We have got, yay! Okay, Christmas birds. So this is a pattern from Elle Stitchery. I will pop a picture of it up here. It's a whole bunch of cardinals, very Christmassy. This is actually one that I'm doing for my mom. I'd like to get it done, like maybe by this Christmas. That would be great. But I will show you guys that pattern next week, how I'm doing on it, and an update on the mittens. So yeah. Anyway, guys, that is it. I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comment section below. What are you reading this week? Have you read any of the books that I'm talking about, or talked about, or, you know, yeah, let me know all the things. Let me know how your week is going. And until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.